Well, it's pleasant to present this topic. The name is socioeconomic factor and use in Colombia in the period 2010-2050. Well, so continue. My name is Diego Karachas. Our group of different results so prepare this investigation. The presentation line is introduction, objective review, methodology, data analysis, validation, conclusions. Okay. Introductions. Purpose. This article to establish the link between economic and social factors and the provision of the formal justice service based on the official record of judicial process, interest, and excess deliberated by the Colombia Judicial Branch. The methodology. To do it, first, provision justice service performance estimator was calculated focused on the efficient and efficiency in the operation of the system using this method DAR, data development analysis, techniques to obtain estimate data set that allow comparing the performance of the judicial system in Colombia as a measure of access to use. Afterwards, the socioeconomic data was obtained a way to discriminate measuring about the factors that could or could not impact the provision use service performance estimator to was done for 32 sub-national division departments since in the period 2010-2015 annual reports. The result with the correlation matrix between the efficient aspect and the socioeconomic factor was identified as the way to estimate the relationship between factor variables of the social environment and provision use service performance estimator. Each national division has a particular behavior each year and will be used an scenario evolution in order to propose strategies to get away to service performance estimator to the efficient functions. Well, the objective is important for two learning good this proposal. The general let me moment. Okay. Evaluate the operation of the use service in Colombia. How the estimation of procedural times using data analysis techniques to weigh the incidence of economic and social factors at the department level and by years in the period 2010-2050, and have three specific objectives. In this case, estimate performance measure of the provision of the use service, focus on the efficiency and inefficiency in the operation of the system from the application of the data analysis technique to have metrics that allow comparing the performance of the judicial system in Colombia as a measure of access of use. This is one. The other, establishing how economic and social factors affect the province of use service and their influence of the performance measure identified to analyze scenarios and propose strategies that take the service to the efficient border. And the last objective is propose the change that links the estimation of the access to use with the economic and social factors that affect the provision of the service in Colombia to identify the continuing characteristics of the access to justice. Well, in the review, it's important to know who other authors talking about this. The right access to the use allow access to the right, which is recognized and embraced in the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, likewise in its accordance with Article 8 and 10 of the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights. The World Justice Project captures comparable data and legal nets and access to use and global scale to result of the 2019 report are derived from the access to the use module administered in 101 countries in 2017 and 2078, using a probable example of 1,000 responsible in each country. Other authors say that the most common problems are related with the consumer, housing, money, and debt. There are estimate 36% of the people in the world who have experienced and not further legal problems in the last 2 years. 51% of these are unable to meet their civil justice needs. United Nations indicate that one of the main obstacles to access to the use in the cost of the representation and legal updates. Other authors conduct a literature review of the application of DEA. This is the method or used in this case. Using and duration distance function, in this case, directional distance function, DDF, for its acronym in English, to measure efficiency in the course. Well, who is the methodology? These are different steps. Well, the first is review of the publication information source. After estimate of the technical data development analysis, this is the technique. Choose a person, in this case, correlation are used to indicate the relationship between pairs of the variables of grounded theory. After the linear process present the dynamic of justice with the justice in specific. Processes writing to the system without being attended. Inactive process represented lab queued process. After process in the judicial system and the aspect to the observer of the number of the process. After is any instant of the time, is the time, like S is in cognitive. Take the values 1, 2, 3, etc. And T can be any value, is 0 and other name, other number. Well, so finish is from the instant with the observation begins to the infinite future, if the process arrives at one impulse and the total number of processes during the system, this is an inventory, is observed that the value of the S in the time increased by 1 and the one process levels exit decreased by 1. So continue. Process that they enter the system, L, by state between the years, in this case the period 2010 and 2015, and are shown in the continual table. Likewise, there is an initial inventory within the system year by the department in table, another table, in this case L. From the equation is the later little, we solve the W as across the data to obtain the average times in the system. So, well, this continued with the methodology. Data development analysis, this is there. Technique propose a mathematical programming for construction and efficient function and to compare the technical efficiency of unit. After, to produce a linearization and application of primal dual properties obtained the DDC linear programming model, which are the most widely used. And finish. According to details, are defined as input variables population, bill and debt, as output variables income and procedural expense. The equation is defined like this. This is a linear program that used to know who is the most important in different variables and to have the more specific, in this case, for the different service in the use. So continue. Well, the data collection. The collection of information will be done through the different information system of each of the entry added to the Ministry of Justice, like National Police, Judicial Branch, Auditor General of the Nation, National Penitentiary, and Vision Institute for 6 years in this case. Well, with the data analysis average times in the judicial process system by years, in this case, with different regions, for example, in the country, the methodology to select different regions, in this case, have 6 different regions that in 6 years, and who is the time with different process. In this case, the problem is 1. This is the problem. But when have more than one is more have using more time. Is this in the order the years? In this case, is for example, continue to less, and the other is more less. And the judicial process and in the initial inventory by years and department in this table continue that the average times in the system obtained for equation. Later, after, this data is relevant because it justifies the light is then, the longer a process is the system. It can indicate that the justice is not then and is time efficient. Well, this is with the all region. In this case, is the different region, and the other is the different department. So, is the name say data before, but in any department in this case. So, for the analyze in different places specific. Once of the mathematical technique there has been applied, the scores are obtained per year by department. The results are shown in this table by reduced. Colombia is a country that is divided in regions. We have territorial division made from heterogeneous characteristics in terms of relief or class of the country. To establish the relation of non-degree variables, a matrix constructed with the data entered and obtained with the application of the data. For each part, variables of the economic and social nature included. In total, there are 42 variables and data for the 32 departments in 6 years. Well, with this data, so is analyzed with, in this case, score. Okay, don't worry, I continue to finish. For example, this analyze who is the more significant. Mass, brace, for example, main. Continue. I continue to finish. Table 4, in this case, summarizes the number of the times announcing the horizontal deviations in any cases have one relation with the others. The negative relation with and without significant pair, as well the number of positive relations with and without significant. It also included to the maximum and horizon minimum for each variable. There are 18 negative correlations with significant and 178 without significant. For example, if you can see in the continuum illustrate. So, you can see two rows, the different variables. There are with the different problems with relationship variables that are socioeconomic variables. In this order, right is the variables associated with the Houston system, and this other row of the variables are meant as data and efficient measure of the data development analysis. So, this is the line black is the relation positive for every different variables, and the red line is the negative relation. So, in this case, it's possible to have 80 potential titles of the relationship. So, it's for to have analysis who are positive and who are a negative relation. Well, this is the general because it's a lot of information in this case. This is the same, more specific with different groups of the variables. So, the conclusions. It was possible to estimate the performance measure of the provision of the justice service focused on the efficient and efficientness in the operation of the system. Efficiency was analyzed using little light, which allows studying the performance in operation of various systems across the flow of inventory, meaning that it allows studying the performance in operation of various systems through the flow inventory, meaning that the average time of judicial process in general has decreased in the time horizon time study. The application of little light adds a variable allow establishing that the highest percentage value inefficient are there intuitively occur, which means that the service demanded by citizens is not being provided, only 4% are case attended. And other general conclusions are, on the other hand, in the on the field effectiveness